Regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, both the Conservatives and the Liberals are both saying that they want to ban foreign buyers in Canada for the next 2 years if elected. And mathematically, it's likely that one of the parties is going to win the 2021 Canadian election. And if I'm wrong, feel free to come back and comment on this video and tell me how wrong I am, but I think realistically, one of these parties is going to win. And it's not that often that both the Liberal and the Conservative government agrees on something, but they both have the exact same policy in place here, so I think that's really interesting. So in today's video, I'm going to go over 3 points. I'm going to go over what percentage of Canada right now is foreign buyers, will it actually bring down housing prices, and if they do implement this, what segment of the market could be affected the most. And just before we jump into that, as always, my name is Tom. I run a real estate team here in Toronto. You can go right into the link in the description, go onto my website, book a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, or a call with me just to chat about real estate. Let's start with point number 1. What percentage of the market is already foreign buyers? So Stats Canada, the most recent information that I could find, said about 4.3% of purchases are foreign buyers right now in Canada. And let's round this up to 5%, or even if we double it and say the real number is 10%. Can a portion of the ownership in Canada, and 10%, let's say it's 10%, if we took them away, would it actually impact the sale prices of houses? Now, previous to this new plan, Toronto has had a foreign buyer tax since about 2017. Vancouver and surrounding areas has had it since about 2016, which started at 15%. Now it's 20%. Toronto's is at 15%. And we've talked to a few clients that are foreign buyers. We asked them about this tax, and what they basically said to us was, well, you know, the money coming into Canada, Canada's kind of already on sale based on our dollar. So that type of tax is something they're willing to deal with. And just to be clear, since both those taxes were put in Toronto and Vancouver, housing prices have not become more affordable. They have gone way up. So obviously the tax isn't the solution here, but is a permanent ban going to be the solution? And that takes us to point number 2, which is, the big question here. Will banning foreign buyers for the next 2 years in Canada actually bring down housing prices? And I think the answer is yes, no, and maybe. So let's talk about this. Year over year, we've seen Canadian housing prices up over like 10 to 15% depending on what market you are in. So if they were only up 12 to 13% over the last year, would that directly impact how much of a house that you could afford? Because I don't think we're focusing on the main issue here. Sure, banning foreign buyers is a nice policy for all these parties to put into place, because the foreign buyers don't get to vote in the election. So your average Canadian, if you tell them, hey, if we ban foreign buyers, housing prices will be more affordable, they'd say, okay, sure, that sounds pretty good. And that's the reason why the Liberals and the Conservatives have put both this policy into place. But on the surface level, what's actually happening, banning foreign buyers will have an impact on the market. I think it will. Will it have enough of an impact to actually change the affordability levels across Canada? That I'm not so certain of. The main issue here is supply, and I've been saying that forever. If you took away all the foreign buyers right now, there still would not be enough homes available in Canada just for locals to buy. You'd hear the same frustration out there on the streets of, well, can you believe what housing prices are doing? We are just not building homes fast enough, and that's a reality. And if the Liberals or the Conservatives win, they're not just going to bring this policy into place on one day. There's going to be a lead up to it. And how many transactions do you think are going to happen if we have 3 months notice that they're going to ban foreign buyers? There's going to be a ton, which is going to create housing prices just to go up. So will this bring down prices? Maybe fractionally. Will it bring down prices to actually change what the average Canadian can afford? I don't think so. And just one other thing I want to mention here is, let's say we put this policy into place. I think most Canadians would be on board with it, me included, by the way. Let's say it was flipped. And let's say the snowbirds that own properties in the States or in Portugal, or they travel and live in Canada only about half the year. And then these other countries, let's use the States as an example. The Biden administration sees that Canada has banned all foreign buyers for 2 years, which includes Americans. What if it flipped the other way? What if the States said the same thing to us? That would cause an outroar. So just remember, it's not always a one-way street. If we start putting these policies into place, other countries will probably at some point do it back to us. And the last point I want to talk about here is just, what segment of the market would be impacted the most if foreign buyers are banned for 2 years. I can say with almost certainty it would be the pre-construction side of the market. Resale properties, at least from what I'm seeing personally right now as a listing specialist in Toronto, I see a lot of local people buying properties and first-time home buyers and people that are upsizing and downsizing. It's not always just strictly investors, because the investors are putting their money in projects that are going to be done in 4 years. And I know realtors that have traveled to Hong Kong and sold pre-construction projects to people there, showing them how great of an opportunity it is to invest in Canada, specifically Toronto. So the new construction side of the market, I think, would be impacted the biggest. And they already have some of the most inflated prices anyways. If you look at a condo resale in downtown Toronto, let's say you're paying $1,100 a square foot, a building across the street, brand new on paper that you're buying that will be ready in 4 years, they're charging $1,500 a square foot. So I think the pre-construction side of the market would be impacted severely if they ban foreign buyers. But enough of me talking, I want to know what you think. So throw your comment below if you stuck around this long in the video. I really do appreciate that. Let me know what you think. Does banning foreign buyers actually make a difference on Canadian housing prices, or are there other factors at play here that maybe should also be addressed? Thanks so much for watching. As always, my name's Tom, and remember, home is where your story begins.